Okay.
You want to come in the door?
Yeah.
Okay, Carrie, we're ready.
Give me just, when you're ready, give me like a 2-second lead so I can make sure to turn it on and then, so I'll hit it now.
Okay. 2 seconds. 1 second.
Hello?
Good morning, Mabel.
Hi.
Oh, golly. You look like you're in pain.
Yeah, my hip hurts really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it help when you put your hand there on it?
No.
No.
But
Yeah, and I know that you're scheduled to have some pain medication, but they haven't come in for your consent yet.
no, they said I have to have a clear head.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a clear head when you're in pain.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just going to wash my hands, and I have a few questions. Well, more than a few, actually, if you want to know the truth.
Okay.
So maybe that'll help you concentrate on something else.
Okay.
Okay.
Who are you?
Oh, didn't I introduce myself? Forgive me. I'm one of the nurses at the hospital, and we just changed shifts, so the nurses that were with you when you were admitted have gone home now to their families, and I'll be with you today.
Oh, you're Jane. Hi,
My
Jane.
name is Jane. Yep, and I have a long last name, so don't even try to remember it. All right, I have more than a few questions, Mabel, so I just want to kind of find out how your life has been until now. Can you tell me a little bit about how this happened, first of all?
Well, I was walking in the house, and I have taken up all the rugs in my house because I walk with a cane, just because sometimes I feel off balance. And I don't know what I tripped on, but I tripped, I fell, and I couldn't get up. My hip hurt so bad. So, and I don't know why. I was doing fine. I felt fine, but...
So did you call a neighbor or your sons? I noticed on the chart, on your admissions
Actually,
chart.
I was lucky that one of my neighbors just happened to come over at the time, and I was able to yell, and they came in the house.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Mabel, I have some notes that I will have to go and do my charting, so I'm going to put it right up there under your pillow so don't forget to ask you any questions.
Okay.
So the first thing I'd like you to tell me, if you can remember everything, what your past health has been like.
Pretty good. I have some problems with high blood pressure.
Okay.
But I take medicine for it, and it's been really good. Haven't had to change my medicine or do anything. They told me I have osteoporosis. Now I broke a hip, so I can understand, but I didn't quite understand that before. It's just, so this is kind of embarrassing, but the last week, actually a few days, under both of my breasts, I have a little rash. It's just kind of a little red rash, and sometimes it itches, and
is that new?
Yeah.
It's just that
I've never had
that before. Okay.
No. But otherwise, I've been good.
Once we get this surgery over with, the nurses on the floor will take care of that, and so most of the time that's just a moisture thing, and it's just irritated skin. It's not infected generally. So there's some little powders we can put on, and sometimes if we just put a piece of paper towel or a soft cloth there under, and as our bodies change as we get older, that's a very common thing. So
you're saying it's old age again. Everything's old age.
Yeah, I'm right behind you. I'm right behind you, Mabel. A lot of things happen like that.
I'm 74. You can't be as...
Well, I'm right behind you.
Well, you don't look like it.
Well, thank you. And you don't look like you're 74 either. I wonder if you can tell me, so you're tolerating your medications and you go to your doctor regularly. How often is a regular visit for you?
Well, every year I go for a physical.
Okay.
But it just depends on if my blood that's really my only problem. So if I have problems with that, they have me come more often, but not very much.
Sure.
So I don't know. Maybe I go 3 times a year. Sometimes I go if I have, if I'm sick or something, but that don't happen very much either. I'm usually pretty healthy.
Do you take your blood pressure at home? Do you have one of those home?
I have one, yeah.
You do?
I do it. It's a wrist one.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So much easier than putting it on my arm.
Right.
Yeah.
Righto. Can you tell me about how life is generally? Are you pretty independent? It sounds like you are taking care of yourself, though you're alone in your house. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. My husband died 3 years ago, and we've been married 50 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was. But he had a heart attack and died instantly. So, so I've been living alone since then. But I have 2 sons, and my oldest son Michael lives in Westby with me, or not with me, but he lives in Westby with his family. And then my other son, Stephen, he lives in Baroka, so it's not too far away.
They're close by.
Yeah. And I have a lot of friends and family, but I take care of everything myself, except yard work. My son Michael does the yard work for me, and but I do my own flowers, do my own housework, as much as I can. If I have anything that needs lifting, they will help me with, heavy stuff, but I try to do myself. I don't want to be a burden for my family.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's a very common feeling for all of us as we get older. We like that independence that we've always had, don't we?
And so this really scares me, because what if I don't recover as good as I should, and it makes me worried.
Yeah. Do you have other friends that you know that have experienced something like this with a bad outcome, or
Yeah.
you do?
Yeah, one of my friends had a broken hip, and she developed pneumonia and she died. So that scares me too.
It is a worry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know that's a very uncommon
I know,
outcome.
but it's still scary.
It does. And isn't that funny how we human beings kind of always go to the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
So just for as much reassurance as I can give you, the nursing care and the medical care here is wonderful, and we want you to know that we're going to take the very best care of you. And if you at any point along the way are feeling afraid or want somebody else to come and talk to you, we will make sure that you are comfortable with this.
Okay.
Most of the time, everybody gets along well. They go for therapy, which you probably have already figured out. You've had friends that have had bone problems before, so they go for PT, and honestly, those physical therapists are just wizards. They're going to get you back in that garden before you know it.
I had a good therapist when I started using the cane. They taught me how to walk with the cane, and so maybe I can go see him again, because he was really good.
Well, I bet if you ask, I bet they'll try and make that happen for you. Was your husband's death after 50 years? That must have been very hard for you.
It was. I get along fine. I do pretty good. I mean, I have my days when I miss him, of course. But I have grandchildren and my kids, and that helps. And I have a lot of friends. And if I really feel sad, I clean, or I go out and work in my flowers. So I try to stay busy.
That's really good coping. That's a very good coping mechanism, instead of just sitting at home and crying.
And I like going for car rides with my girlfriends. And we started a card club this last year, and we play bridge every week.
And talk smart?
Yeah. And I like beer. I like my beer, so when we play cards, I might have a beer.
Well,
but
a beer now and then is just fine. About how much alcohol do you have in a week or a month?
Well, I buy a 12-pack, and unless my kids come and drink it, it lasts 2 months at least.
Oh, okay.
So it's not very much.
I'm not going to worry about your alcohol intake.
No, not yet.
Not yet. All right.
I could use one now, I'm telling you.
I bet. That sounds like it would relax you just a little bit. Can you tell me before your fall, your exercise, your activity level? You mentioned gardening.
I will walk around the neighborhood, but in the summer, when the weather's nice. In the winter, I I don't go out as much, of course, just because I'm worried about slipping and falling and that. But yeah, I don't have any big exercise program or anything, but I try to get out and
get
walk
out
when
every
I
day.
can.
Yep, that's so
Yeah.
good. Can you tell me about your house? You mentioned that you have, you're walking with a cane and you got
Yeah.
rid of your throw rugs, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
Is there, how do you get to the basement then?
Well, my house is all one level except
well.
for the basement,
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm good with that. And my son's remodeled so that my washer and dryer are upstairs now on the main level, so I don't have to go downstairs except if I need to get something. And because they were worried, they put a stair chair in for me, a stair lift. Yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, and it works really well, and so if I have to go down there, I just use that. And, yeah, so it works good.
Don't you feel so lucky to have those boys so
I'm
close?
very lucky.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
and they're so devoted to you.
Yes.
That's such
Yes.
a reassuring thing to
Yeah.
have. If something goes wrong, they're right there for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But cooking for one person, that must not be. Is that
Well,
different for you?
It's hard to cook for one person.
That's what I've heard.
I like cooking.
Ah.
And I like baking, and so I'm known as the neighborhood baker because I try to give stuff to everybody in the neighborhood a lot. It keeps me busy and it makes me happy. You know, I'm Norwegian, and we like to cook. Yeah, so I try to bake cookies a lot and take them to the neighbors. I have one neighbor who's disabled and he can't get out of the house at all. He has somebody that comes in and helps take care of him, and so I am always baking things for him and cooking things for him. And
I bet he listens for the back door.
Yeah. Well, I have my own key now.
Oh.
Yeah.
You are a good neighbor and trusted.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like doing it, and it keeps me busy. So that's another.
It makes you
It
feel
makes me
needed.
happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
When people depend on us like that.
Yep.
Oh, you, I think, really have a good take on what it is to live your life to 74 with all the losses that come with it, and you kind of figured out how to make this work.
Yeah.
And how to adapt.
Yeah. Well, that's what you have to do. I believe in God, and I have a strong faith, and I know that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
So
Do you have a little church in your?
it's a couple blocks
Weston?
away. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I go to the First Congregational Church, and my parents went there because I've always lived in Westby my entire life, and so that's where I was baptized as a baby, and I still go to that church.
Oh, but there are still a lot of people that have known you and your family over the years.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have a little ladies group or women's group at the church too?
Yeah, and we do sewing and quilting, and we make all the food for funerals and things like that. So I try to stay involved in that. And I used to teach Sunday school too.
Oh, to the real little kids or to the middle school kids?
To the little kids.
Yeah.
Little kids. That was more fun.
Yes, it is. I do have to agree with you. Having children who in middle school, sometimes not the most fun job in the world. I'm going to ask you about your elimination. So, urinary elimination.
I didn't know what you meant.
But what we were eliminating?
All the food I make, you mean?
No, so your bowels and your bladder. So, bowel problems or?
No.
Do you have a routine?
Sometimes I go every day.
Okay.
Sometimes I have hard stools, and I'll take a stool softener for that. But otherwise, I don't really have any issues with it. And I don't have to take a stool softener every week. So, maybe once every other week.
Okay.
It depends on what I eat.
Yeah. So dried fruits and lots of water.
I take Metamucil.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I try to eat a lot of fruits.
Doesn't taste quite as good as the fruit,
No, it's so thick. But I chug her down.
Yeah.
I pretend it's a beer.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Uh-huh. They should. Wait, that's a great idea. We should
Mix it with beer.
We'll suggest a beer-flavored Metamucil.
There you
sell
go.
like hotcakes.
There you go.
Good heavens. And I'm thinking about all the food that you're making and giving away, and I wonder, how's your financial background? Are you secure financially?
Yeah. So I retired, and I was a bookkeeper for over 30 years at our local co-op.
Oh my goodness.
And so I get a small pension from them.
Okay.
And my husband was a railroad worker. He was retired. And so they have really good pension fund. And yeah, so I get his pension. But so I'm comfortable. I don't ever have to worry too much. Our house is paid for. And, but I worry about this because I don't know if I can afford nursing home, and I hate to have them take everything because I want to be able to give to my kids, you know, and pay for a funeral and all that kind of stuff if I need to.
That's an understandable worry.
Yeah.
But I would also like to reassure you that there are not very many people that end up in the nursing home. I see you wincing. Is the pain really?
It's no worse than it was. I just yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Very few people end up in the nursing home for long-term care. Occasionally, some folks have to go there for a little while, but we have a wonderful physical therapy department here, and with your sons at home, that's good support. And if you have somebody who will be able to get you to your doctor's appointments, maybe somebody in the neighborhood that you've been so good to all these years will be able to come over a couple of times a day while you do your exercises, just for reassurance. So
my pastor comes and visits.
Yeah.
So
it could be that this is payback time for Mabel. That people will say, "Oh, she's been so good to us all these years."
I know, but that's not me.
I know, and that worry is always in the back of your head. And I don't. The only thing I can say is that sometimes we have to take those worries and just put them over here to the side and not worry about them now until they really become an issue. And I know that's a whole lot easier said than done, but otherwise, you know, I mean, you're old enough to know how you can get yourself just wound up in a tizzy.
Yeah, I can. That's for sure.
Yeah. You just have so many positive things in your life, Mabel. There are so many people that we see here who don't have the resources that you do, or the emotional resources, and the family backup. So
that's why I try to help people, because I know there's a lot of people who don't have that.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm not minimizing your worries. Those are realistic worries. We all worry about the worst case scenario. But I think the horizon looks really good for you. Can you tell me about, you told me about how much you love beer, but you're not a heavy beer drinker. Did you ever smoke?
No.
Okay. Or any street drugs?
What do you mean by street drugs?
Marijuana or cocaine?
No.
I
always wanted to try some marijuana because they say it really makes you feel good.
Yeah, and takes away the pain.
Takes away the pain.
Yeah, so we should look into that before you leave.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'll talk to the administrator as soon as we're done here. We'll see what we can do. You're alone a lot, I presume, and your neighbors all know you, but do you feel safe and secure?
Oh yes.
Okay.
I love my neighborhood. It's quiet. You know, we have strangers come, and if there's a stranger comes to the door, I don't answer it typically. There's a lot of kids that come and go in the neighborhood that I don't know, but they're friends of the kids I do know, so I think they're fine.
Yeah.
But I can walk around the neighborhood and feel good. I can sit outside at night and feel good. You know, Westby's a real small town, and everybody's, you know everybody, or you're related to everybody. And so I feel very, very safe.
Oh, that's very reassuring.
Yeah.
That's very reassuring. When your husband was alive, were you always safe in your relationship with him?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I know that nowadays, I mean, nowadays it's still kind of an uncomfortable topic for people to talk about, but there is a lot of intimate partner violence that happens in homes that some people don't have anyone to tell. So the hospital has recently mandated that everybody needs to have that question asked of them. So
I don't have anything like that. I never have.
I'm very glad of that. Yeah. I'm just going to take a peek at my notes. You've been so forthcoming, and I know you're uncomfortable, and I don't want you to be any more uncomfortable just having to talk to me. Oh, I did want to ask you one other question about at mealtime. Are you often alone when you eat your meals?
When I eat, usually in the evening, anyways. You know, like I said, I try to get out and we'll go for lunch, the girls and my girlfriends and that. And I take the food to the neighbor. Sometimes I'll sit with him and eat, just so he's not alone.
And he probably loves that as much as you do.
He does, yeah. But otherwise I'm usually alone.
And do you have feelings of loneliness?
No. I get so busy sometimes it's nice to just have quiet time too.
I understand.
You know, they talk about the golden years of retirement. They're not always so golden. And I think I'm busier now than I was before sometimes, except I don't have to be if I don't want to.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
All right, Alice, I'm sorry, Alice was the last patient that I saw. Mabel, I wonder if I can go check on I know your labs are back, and I'll go check with the surgical nurse and find out where we are with that. And maybe I can get a little ice pack for your hip. Is the pain the same as it was at the beginning? And if you were to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the worst pain you could imagine, and 1 being just almost nothing, where would your rank?
Probably an 8.
An 8. God bless you.
And I'm tired too. I didn't sleep. I sleep pretty good, but not always. So it would just be nice if I could just close my eyes for a little bit.
Well, I can get rid of these bright lights for you, and you can rest. Usually, do you get a good night's rest?
Yeah, I usually sleep about 6 hours because I like watching the Late Show. And but otherwise I do take a nap once in a while during the day.
Okay. Well, maybe you could take a nap now if I turn off these bright lights.
If I got something for the pain. Yeah. Do you know how much longer it's going to be for surgery?
I'm going to go check right now, and we'll find out. And as soon as we can get the consent in here, we can't give you any opioids for your pain, which is what you'd need. Tylenol isn't going to do it.
Aren't those opioids some of those street drugs you talked about?
Some of those street drugs, yeah. Those are opioids. But if I could get you some marijuana, that would be. Yeah, we'll have to work on that for the.
You are my friend. I have a new friend now.
So I'll check and see where we are with that. And as soon as you sign the consent forms for surgery, we can get you that medication.
Okay.
All right. Well, it was lovely to meet you.
You too, Jane. Thank you.
And I'll be right here when you come back from surgery.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.